you won't have enough storage, you know, to delete some videos. You should
Okay.
delete CapCut and reinstall it. It's 42 gigabytes.
Repeat after me. In the here and in the now. Behind the scenes with the spiritual community.
So, yeah, just
I don't know what I just did. I'll just do what?
right much closer. And just only focusing on him because my camera will be showing us.
I don't know. I don't like that stuff. It's not good. It's not what the professional.
I had a terrible time, I want to be honest with everybody.
I don't like it.
Because of these last 2 days, just thinking about you know, getting stopped at the border and getting interrogated and having my possessions gone through. I've just been going through these waves of worry and suffering and anxiety, and it's truly been a humbling experience. And I want to thank everyone in Australia, all the community members, everyone that we got to meet and practice with, and those that we didn't. But I'm happy to be out of Australia and continue to move forward. We're here with a friend of the show, a friend of the community, Shiva Kailash Shambho, who's a devotee of Sadhguru, and here with Adi, who's apparently a very unlikable person, but I think he seems very likable to me. And some aspects of what these young men have been dealing with and experiencing is having this intention to build some kind of spiritual community in Indonesia, and having, you know, this desire for money and this desire for power and this lack of refuge in Dharma masters kind of just disintegrate the entire thing. So been sharing a little bit about that, and
maybe say it's not ideal.
But if you want, I can record this one as the wide thing, and then if you want to switch, like, very rarely to us two, you can simply do that.
Okay, so here we are.
Well, I need to. Can I borrow this shoe? How about the light?
oh, Whoa!
Need a speaker.
Which one's this?
Maybe we can clean up the table a little bit too. Not a bad idea.
Oh, it's good and bright, eh? That's nice.
Oh, that's intense.
I can turn it down a little bit.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Okay, here we are, my friends and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video.
You're the lead. You're leading. You're
I
leading me,
just-
brother.
I don't know what was happening over there, but yes, we're here, live, doing this show with Mr. Monk,
Dr. Rob. I'm now known as Dr. Rob.
Dr. Robert,
Yeah.
and Garrett.
Howdy.
In Bali. He'll be here for 5 days. And he was a monk for 7 years. Now he's no monk. I found him online on YouTube. He joined one of my live streams wearing monk's robes, to which I thought was super cool. And he talked to us about that. And now here we are in person, and he's doing some kind of gestures to hypnotize you all to subscribe to our channel, these videos, like our videos, and stay tuned for the rest of the lives.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, Dr. Rob.
Yeah, thank you, Shiva Kailash Shambho, thank you.
I think you went on, what is his name, Matan Evan? Matan, that one guy, you went on his podcast, I think?
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of that right now, I don't know why, but that guy's, that came to my mind. Yeah, you've done a lot of podcasts with a lot of big people. You did it with Matan, you did it with Kai Sanat, did a podcast with him?
no, that was just
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 a-
kind of an interview, just kind of a
Yeah.
meeting. Kind of a recorded meeting between me and Kai Cenat. But now, I'm not a monk anymore, so you lose the status. Nobody cares about some spiritual hippie character. Nobody cares
Yeah.
about that, And I was thinking a lot about that, well, I've gotten the training for a monk for 7 years and a lot of transmissions and a lot of attainments, whatever, from gurus. But if I go down to the local Kundalini sex workshop, they're not going to give me any handouts. They don't care what my experience is. So, what do you do? Maybe they would. Maybe some Kundalini sex workshop would care about my experience. But generally, I think that's not the case.
So what's it like to transition from lay life to monk life, and then monk life to lay life again?
I'm not a big fan of the Western energetic sphere. I'm not a big fan of Western paradigms and structures. as far as I know, but I'm Western, so maybe there's a lot of my own structures I'm not a fan of. So becoming a monk, it gave me some allowance to change my identity and to change the conditions that I was living in and experiencing in, to not be just, not just a tourist in the Asian country or in the spiritual community of Buddhism, but to be kind of a stakeholder in that. And in dropping it and then no longer being in that position, there's a lot of loss, a lot of protections that have been lost. There's a lot of protection as well.
Why did you choose to leave?
My experience of myself at that time was so overloaded with empathy that I couldn't separate myself from the environment. I couldn't separate my body and mind from the bodies and minds of the environment. And there was a deep anger and frustration arising in me, a kind of wrath that was coming up. And, as that slowed down, as I got tapered off of that constant DMT drip, whatever it was, it just wouldn't stop. That's when I said, I don't want to be a symbol for anything anymore. I don't want to be a symbol for Buddhism or monasticism. I don't want any target on my back at all. But ultimately, it was probably, I wouldn't call it a decision, but you would have to call it a decision probably, or most people would, or I could. But it's just something that's happened, and it was probably, probably would have been better if I would have stayed a monk and kept experiencing life that way, because I had a lot of students, a lot of fame, and a lot of good resources, to be a spiritual teacher and a very important person in the Buddhist world. It takes time to build up. You got to put in a lot of years to get, to raise your seniority as a monk. But I was definitely going in that direction, and now I'm not really going in any direction, which sometimes can be a little bit disappointing. That sense of not developing quickly or fastly or deeply.
That's something I've kind of pondered, that's been on my mind a lot, and something I've also kind of struggled with is wanting some identity to connect myself with, wanting some community to connect myself with, but also wanting to be an individual, wanting to have my, have some, wanting to believe that there's something special about me or something sovereign that I want to keep to myself. So that kind of dichotomy, I personally struggle with, and I'm not sure how much you relate to specifically that, but.
No, I'm very, you need community to become individuated. It's very important. And I'm not just talking about your mama and your papa and the people at McDonald's, or the Cracker Barrel, but you need, these moment by moment, sensitive, vulnerable relationships with people who are fully attuned to either a shared vision or the present, and that, I'm still young, so I there's a lot of things I don't have confidence about, even though that I believe, right? But a community without elders is a broken community. You know, and if anything, that's the fundamental way that you begin to deconstruct. So this is like the white people, you know, the colonizers, the best stealers. I don't know what that idea is, that we're the best stealers, so stealing is somehow good, but you're gonna get some pushback, I think, handle the role of elders in community. And now, I mean, some spiritual folks, you try to talk with them about elders, and the only person they can think of is who does their colonics. Ever, you know, that's the only elder that they can imagine, and it's a really big problem with that. And that's something that I like and I respect about Shiva, as unable he is to defeat me in an arm wrestling match, and we can put that to the test, but we don't need to. He's not a fighter, he's a lover, and he knows that. But I really respect how much he emphasizes Sadhguru, and he emphasizes people to, you know, take refuge and to look to an elder, to a master, not just to himself. And I think more spiritual teachers, you know, which is kind of a broken term, should need to do that kind of thing. You know, they need to reference more elders and more great teachers.
What was the hardest, most challenging aspect of being a monk, living a monk's life?
Well, it's the celibacy and its inner conflict, because actually when you're a monk, you know, sexuality is wrong. You know, sexuality is prohibited, it's restrictive. So facing the lust, the sexual desire, the thoughts in my mind with this role of being a monk can be very difficult, very problematic. And then coming back into the society where sexuality, there's nothing wrong with sexuality, but actually it's been internalized that sexuality is actually quite dangerous, and it is. You know, lust is very dangerous, and lust and fear kind of go hand in hand together. It's probably why rape is so popular, because of the connection between lust and fear, or lust and terror.
Yeah.
Do you feel like some of that wrath could have come even from all of that celibacy? Like, I know personally in my life, when I've gone, like, been so celibate for almost a year or so, you know, that, like, there's an energy that wants to come out.
No,
I